Rocky Outcrop here, floating in space in the internet, YouTube, inviting me back in here to actually finish off my live show. Thank you so much for joining me. Check that out, $17.99 from Harriet herself. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you for the knowledge, sung like ABBA. Thank you for the knowledge and all your teaching. I'm even willing to put up with your preaching. I'm not a stinking commie, but I do like socialist things and cryptocurrency. Well, so long as you pay your tax and don't fart too much, then I'll be tolerant. Right, okay, so here we have the Bitcoin chart. Right, I'm going to make a Bitcoin type clip here and just suffer through with it. Thanks so much for joining me. To the moon, everybody here. It's great. We'll just see how much we can get going. Right, imagine I hit this record button on Streamlabs, right, and it broke my stream or something. Wouldn't that be nuts? Don't know how we'd be able to cope with an event like that happening. Anyway, let's see how it goes. What if I actually bring my background back and everything? Bring the background back. Is that going to work? Nope. I've messed that. I've messed that up. I've messed up my background backaroony thing. I'm going to get it working though. I'm determined. Where is it? Bang, bang. Right. Okay, that doesn't work. Right. Okay, it's cool. So the button doesn't work for that, but that's all good. Right. Starting off this thing then. So that's good. Here I am in space. Hi friends, Rocky Outcrop show here. I'm Rocky Outcrop. I'm floating in space because that's what cryptocurrencies are doing, or some other sort of analogous thing like that. As we jump over to take a look at the charts and see that Bitcoin is up behind me, and that there's of course a few oscillators, and this guy here probably has a couple of things to say about it. Well, I certainly do, and we're looking at the charts and asking, are the prices kind of going into a bit of a wedge on the go over here? I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, well, hey, it is a little bit kind of declining on those highs, and we got these lows coming in here, and there's enough touches there for us to be able to say that there's a bit of a pattern on the go. Maybe on this one, those three highs in the 24-hour time frame giving us a bit of bearish divergence on the RSI down below. We are seeing as well that divergence on the MACD, the DMI. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? Something to be considered. Perhaps we might even experience a little bit of a pullback. If we did, what's the range on that wedge? Well, the top end of it in there at 43, the low end of it down there about 36. Woof, that's quite big, you know. That's nearly $7,000 or so. We've got 48 grand over here at the minute. Makes me almost wonder if this previous low along the way would be enough to sustain the prices if we were to crash down to them. Maybe we'd be looking down for support in it around about that 42 to 40k range. I don't know. It's kind of what the charts are saying. Now, things to be aware of are that, 2-day time frame, no bearish divergence. Nice. That bodes well. Mind you as well, looking at the range on this, the previous low was just in there at 44,500. Maybe we do get a bounce there. Maybe we do. Things to consider if the prices go there. Am I personally catching knives on this one at that particular price point? Well, I'm not super eager to lose all my fingers. I'll probably take it somewhat easy. But in terms of this most recent movement then, I suppose, with the up and the up here, how are we doing on the lower term time frames? Well, the 4-hour time frame has just had this negative cross with the ADX still in place. I mean, if I was talking to you about where to take profits at on this one, it might have been me mentioning something about the 48 to 50,000 range. I mean, we do want to crack up above 50,000, but the risk is certainly on right now. Something to be bearing in mind as we go along the way. We haven't had hidden bullish divergence for a wee while to give us that kind of boost up the way. We've also got bearish divergence just there on the MACD on the 4-hour time frame. So it's something to be bearing in mind, I suppose. I'm not a financial advisor. I certainly don't tell anybody how to trade, but things are going along fairly well, and it seems like my stream hasn't broken, which is actually a first for me today, funnily enough. 2 minutes and 46 seconds into this one, I've already introduced it and given all the Bitcoin TA. That's pretty amazing. Well, at this stage in the video, it would be awesome if I asked you to hit the like and share it with a friend, because I'm pretty sure if you're looking at charts right now, you've got a friend who probably could do with having this type of good information handed to them. And how about we see what else we can see as well? I'll even roll the intro clips to give you enough time to hit that like button as I announce that we'll be looking at Ethereum, Chainlink and Tezos in the rest of this cryptocurrency technical analysis video, brought to you by me, your friend in space, with the big old jar over there filling up with AMC and GME logos. Rocky Outcrop. Why is it filling up with those logos? Well, because we actually do a live show every day where we take a look at the markets opening up in the United States, and we, of course, discuss those stocky walkies as well as a community. A lot of people out there are learning to trade in and around about this community and doing a fantastic job of it. As Ethereum was perhaps doing a bit of a not so great job just there on not putting in a bullishly convergent high. We had that bearish convergence. We came back down here. The most recent area for me to be looking to in terms of the sort of support resistance is going to be coming in there at 3,197 buckaroonies on us. We have, of course, our previous area of support on the way up to the all-time Timothy time highs over there, coming in there at that area, and that is what I'm looking to see if we can get support for a higher low and maybe push this thing on a little bit further in the face of that divergences, looking for perhaps a third pop of the cherry before we decline, or are we already on the way? Very much, of course, making this easy on myself by identifying the areas to manage my risk at. There we have it, 3,188 would be a number for me to be concerned about, given that the highs up here on this thing are around about 3,250 and the lows are about 3,000 or 2,960. You are looking at a 10% decline in prices. That would take us in for a higher low in around about the 3,000 round dollar number area, and it's one of those situations where you have to look back at in the future and say it's probably wise to remember that Rocky did indeed warn us about all this sort of thing. As we can look over here at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart and see that we did actually get a bit of an experience, a bit of that pullback, and I do believe we were talking about this yesterday in the show, although it's hard for me to remember from one day to the next, to tell you I'm honest about that, but it's hard. But I do think we were talking about this, and saying what could possibly happen. I don't really know. I'm still looking to see in terms of the Bitcoin dominance chart if we actually do go on for more trend and downward action. Now, what we're waiting for in the meantime is a lower high to come in. I want that lower high on the Bitcoin dominance chart if we're going to see increased pressure in terms of the overall money flow within cryptocurrency moving towards those third level and second level coins and tokens in the alt-sphere. Zooming on in a bit, you can see that we're actually operating within down lower on the today. We've already been up as high as 44.47. We're now back down at 44.27 here on the BTCD chart. So I'm looking to see if we do put in a lower high. I'm wanting that to be below 45, and then we can aim towards 40s on the Bitcoin dominance if we're going to crack down the way. Is it too soon to say? Certainly is, but it's also not like screaming out massive amounts of turnaround stuff. But there is to be aware of this bullish divergence that you can see, of course, between these lows just here, but it's always of a class B nature, really. It's not super fantastic. Anyway, over there in terms of the other ones, so like I said, we're going to take a look at Chainlink as well. Chainlink, by the way, versus Bitcoin, going through this extended period of sideways, but we're just above the key pivot point for us, and I'm looking at us to get that trend in action again towards the top side. Here, coming back down, the dollar prices, thanks very much for the donation, by the way, that just came in from Andy A. Here we're looking at 27.4 on the current price on Chainlink. Yes, it's reduced its prices back from that $30 highs that we had. We've come back down that 10% move. We're looking to see, can we sustain this price action? We're up above a key area. You can see that the range is there, and this is one of those times when drawing in a parallel channel, just to kind of give you that idea sideways, just to give you a sideways channel on the go is probably worthwhile. Now, you'll notice I didn't have any touches along the top there. I'm purely looking for this thing to be horizontal and to express the current range in the prices more or less here between these highs and lows, and just show you that we're in it around about that 50% region. Of course, drop downs do take us down to that lower areas, looking down sub $25 for a better discount on this one. Currently, though, looking actually to see if we get support. I'm aware of the fact this is RSI's dropped into the bearish control zone, but I'm looking at this and saying, could this actually be hidden bullish divergence as well for us right in here on this one? Well, it most certainly could, if this price action is able to do exactly what we're talking about and maintain its a higher low while being above this neutral line. That's essentially what I'm looking for on Chainlink over there on that one. Hit like on this video if you're getting value. Stay with us, because we're going to just take 2 more minutes to look through the Tezos chart. Why would we be looking at Tezos? Well, Tezos is a coin Bitcoin that I actually think is worth looking at. So there you go. What did we do? We all went up towards 444. All the fours, George Doors, all the fours. What's the scores? It's 444s. Effing yes. Well done, Tezos. Well done, Aroonies. Back down to the $4 for its price, for its retrace. Wonderful stuff. Wow, doing everything. Did I talk about this in enough detail yesterday? I'm not too sure, but tell you what, as soon as we take out $4.13 again, we are on the way up. At the meantime, I'm thinking that there's profit taking is coming in here, and a lot of hesitancy will be in the markets as people decide to think, well, should I have taken profit at 444? It's dropped down a wee bit now. I'm not too sure. Maybe I need to take profit now. Maybe I don't know. Well, tell you what, let's just see. I wouldn't be wanting to just ditch my position necessarily straight away at 395. That would be kind of the region. Well, I see that it did come down to 399. It was had that $4 kind of pivot there. I'm going to have to go back and look at what I said in yesterday's technical analysis on this one because I don't like to get convinced myself I said something that I didn't say, so I'd like to make sure. But anyway, for me personally, 395 would be a great buy. Below $4 right now is a good buy on it. Managing risk though by not wanting to carry it down past that 395 region, because we could easily visit 380s and 365. I would be looking for buying it at 365 at the mean, and just for now, if we get to do that. Looking at these movements up the way, we've probably burnt off the sort of the potential for divergences there across the board in those oscillators. Lovely then to have pulled back so far just as low as this. That's enough on that move, by the way. So I would be carrying the momentum past 412, 413 on this one. A couple of cents away from that already overall. Having not actually cashed out fully of my own position on this one, I'm pretty comfortable seeing what I'm seeing. Nice one. Nice. Certainly nice to have been trading this anyway. Certainly from below $2 again this time around in 2021. Join us for more of these episodes. Join us again so that you can be part of the live chat and that you can, of course, be a part of everything that we do on the show. My name is Rocky Outcrop. It would be really awesome if you were to hit that like button and, of course, share the video with a friend. Honestly, though, if you're not going to watch at least, let's say, 30-40% of the videos that I put out in terms of, not of the videos that I put out in total, but click through them and actually watch the content that's on them. If you're only kind of tuning in for little bits here and there to kind of just take what you want and then leave, don't bother subscribing. Not interested in that type of thing. I want to grow the channel. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Check it out. Live chat, like I say. These are live episodes. We'd love to see you there as part of that sometime. Sweet. The really generous donations coming in here from people, by the way, and I'll check those in just a second. That was the Crypto TA section. I'll be publishing that. It was a 10-minute video. Who knows what people will get out of it. The first 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes are about Bitcoin. I think kind of nailed it, really, to be honest with you. Pretty fucking awesome. But who knows, I'm not too sure. I mean, and I'm also a little bit worried right now about whether or not I'm experiencing something wrong with regards to my memories on this one. Did I say yesterday we were going to 444 on this one? I'm pretty sure I did, but I might not have, and would feel bad to have said that and be bigging myself up about it. But my track record on this is so good as well that I'm inclined to believe that I did say 444 was where we're going to next on this. We're back down there. So anyway, I'm going to have to check that out. I can see then as well, just bring up stream labels to make sure I've not missed anything with regards to this. And I'll go back to that one that came in from Andy A that I said I would get back to during that Bitcoin video. Isms are bad. Okay. Constitutional Republic is the way. Okay. Scottish TA leads the way. Okay. GME Ape Moon maybe on the way. Okay. Apes, baby, they show the way. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thanks very much, Andy A. Okay. Isms are bad. Okay. What was he called again? Mr. What? In South Park. Love, heart us, heart freedom, Natural Friend. Yes, totally. And another from Natural Friend. Thanks so much for being a generous individual, my friend. Yeah, really appreciate it. Restore the original constitutional republic. This is 1776. USSSSSSS 1776. Us. Freedom for all people. Hey. The original constitutional republic. I mean, the original republic's constitution was pretty shit, right? I mean, that's why they put the amendments on. Do you really want the original one back? You don't have the right to freedom of speech. Or was that in the original? Yeah, that'll have been in the original, right? Because that's a pretty good one. The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, right? You wouldn't have that anymore. What was the other amendments? What are the other amendments? The Fifth Amendment. I plead the Fifth. The right to avoid lying and committing perjury, to avoid incriminating oneself in court. We don't really have this. I mean, we don't even have a constitution. Never mind that. We do have rules. Thank goodness Scotland's got its own laws compared to England. Gosh. At least we have that. Wolfrick Doomslayer then dropping an atomic bomb, 49.99. Thanks so much for that. Really appreciate it. Extremely generous of you, my friend. Really is appreciated. It really does make a massive difference to me, all this sort of stuff, by the way, everybody. 75 to 100 diehard outcropticians. 17 comments on yesterday's vid. Wow, check out these stats. We are better than this. We are better than this. Likes are not enough. Everyone can donate, but not everyone can donate, but everyone can take the 30 seconds it takes to write a comment. This man gives his all day in, day out. Wow, that's so kind of you, Wolfrick Doomslayer. If you don't mind, everybody, I'm going to read this one twice. It's a message to everybody else from Wolfrick Doomslayer, who paid $49.99 to say it. So thanks so much, man. It really means an awful lot to me. 75 to 100 diehard outcropticians. Love you all. Thank you so much. 17 comments on yesterday's video. We are better than this. Likes are not enough. Not everyone can donate, but everyone can take 30 seconds it takes to write a comment. This man gives his all day in, day out. Thank you so much. It feels good to be recognized. Freedom for me, slavery for the rest of you, effers, says Daniel Lesage. Coming back, dropping one of those knowledge bombs yet again. Jeepers creepers, when are you releasing your guidebook to an ethical life, Daniel? I need to read this thing. I need to get that level of enlightenment. It's missing in my life. Jumping back over to then our friends, and I will kind of start to bring the show towards a nice wrap-up phase here, perhaps. We're in a slightly different mode with regards to GameStop. Of course, GameStop perhaps being our favorite stock. Can't stop, won't stop, GameStop. This is the 4-hour time frame. Dropping down to the 1-hour time frame so you can see that this thing that I've got drawn on the RSI totally doesn't make any sense. I don't know, that's not what I'm trying to show you. Where is that coming from? The 15-minute time frame? Where was that? The 5-minute time frame? Where was it? The 5-minute time frame. Oh, lovely. So here we have it as well, by the way. This was earlier on, but we checked this and we drew in how this sort of thing could happen, right? So it's obviously, highly speculative at the time, wasn't it? When I drew this thingamajig in here, it's obviously slightly off, but the point being that we've put in a high, which was higher than our previous one. In fact, you know what? I wasn't even asking. I was only asking for it to get out past this area in terms of the fake out territory. It actually managed to go past this one, which is remarkable. And now it's pulled back down the way, and it might even be able to do it in such a way that it doesn't even properly take out these areas, isn't even going for a retest of the neutral line. I mean, that would be handy, wouldn't it, after all? But what did we anticipate happening? And it's a worthy lesson for people to have here. What did we anticipate happening here? So we were coming in for a high, and we were going to see a pullback at some point, and well, we did see that, and this is therefore natural. It is anticipated. It is the natural oscillations of markets. What was that I was trying to say? Well, this area here bought us the ability to say, hey, maybe, we're putting in a high that's not divergent and we're breaking outside the structure of this. This here made us be able to say that we're certainly not divergent compared to our previous high in there. So now when we look back at the charts and stretch them out a wee bitty so that we can see what's been going on, we get a better idea of some of what's going on. Now, we came up towards a point here in the markets here, and it was an equilibrium point, and we pushed on up the way. Then we got to this high in here. And there's an element of this question which I'm going to be asking over the next wee while with regards to puts and calls. And by all means, go out and read about them yourself if you like to. But it's a question of, is everyone wrong all of the time? In which case, if more than half the people in the world are wrong at any given time, all you need to do is counter trade the majority, is this an insight to hedging? Is this an insight to hedging that's happening? And a question like this can be asked in a number of ways. Up high, this is a high ratio of puts to calls, okay? Down here, this is a low ratio of puts to calls, which means that if there are lots of calls being bought, then there's going to be a low ratio. That means lots of people who are either wrong all the time, or this is an insight to hedging. This can be a debate that we all have ourselves, or just, over time. Certainly, it constitutes a core part of the kind of general discussion that I have at any given time in the markets. Anyway, so with that in mind, however, as you see that we came in for that low in there, can you see that over there, that low that came in? That was low, and it came in at the time when the prices are pushing up past the high. So we've got a high, then we're up here, a big high, and what we're seeing is that at times here, you're getting people, and are they taking profits? Are they taking profits into this zone, or are they buying call options at the top of the market and being wrong? Now, a lot of people, even maybe in the audience right now, will be like, wow, yes, brilliant, I'm buying the breakout. MOAS begins here. It begins at $175, and they buy it right there. And they buy options, and they add to this number here themselves. Maybe that's what happens, as we were looking at that there. But anyway, we now see a retracement down in the prices, and we've got an idea that maybe there's some useful information to be extracted from that, which we can look at over time if I can be bothered kind of now overall in general, to be perfectly honest, right? But anyway, here we have it. We're back down to 382, typical retrace area for us in markets. The oscillations on this one totally perfect. We're suffering the sort of the resistance area up above at $173.74 price point where the 236 currently resides. That's what I'm looking to, obviously, to kind of keep going up the way. But obviously your prior highs at 175 are all important and all that. But this is all from the very short term point of view. I've already made it very clear, I suppose, I think to myself anyway. If I hide off the drawings here, you'll be able to see that we've put in a high compared to the previous areas in terms of this time frame now. Because of the good work that we did on all those lower time frames, we've come in and managed to make it so that we've not got any divergence, and we're putting in a high. Overall, we've got a low, a high, a higher high here, a low, a higher high, a higher low, and anywhere in here we could have a higher high and then going for a higher low overall. The fact, by virtue of the fact that that it's Tuesday today and not Thursday today, means that of course we could experience that. We could even be closing out the week down there and be at one of the lesser voted numbers even. And I'm not going to be bearish on anything right now, but I could be happy to see, as a result of the way that this has gone, movement, where we put in another higher low overall, just to get a trend in something to be trending up the way here for more than just a couple, So anyway, what I would ideally like to see would be us coming up and taking out the 193 price point. I mean, these are the things that I'm wanting to look to next overall. So far, in terms of where we are right now, I want it to be that we start to see the wrong side of things happen on the puts. So up here, the puts weren't wrong. That was correct, and it pushed down the way just slightly. So looking forward to seeing if that can start happening. Fact checking, Lou from Wall Street style. We obviously filled in that thing happened on my. I've not got a name for this really at the minute. I'm going to have to name it, since it's something that people will be talking about all around the world in the not too distant future, who do technical analysis when that thing becomes world famous, which I suspect it probably will. So I don't know, let's come up with a name for it together, eh? Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. That's where we are with this one. I'm really happy with it. Closures above 170 are extremely significant. If you want to call it a number, I'm going to say 169.69. Just like again, shout out to Bad Mama Jama. That's the number. That's the number 169.69. Closing up above that for the day is a highly good thing. Over here on AMC, the America's movie classics. American Movie Classics Entertainment Holdings Incorporated. I don't know, why don't you just shove another 7 words onto your name? American Movie Classics Entertainment Holdings Incorporated of America, where you see the movies in the Entertainment Moving Holdings Incorporated Corporation Incorporated. Here on this one, AMC for short, 37.60 right now with the current prices. Yet living the 37 lifestyle dream. And it's not bad to be here, as I increasingly have to raise the volume of my voice to speak over that ambulance outside. That's 37, 30. We're living that 37 life, that dream life that we all wanted to have. Oh, if only I could be 37 again in here, and ooh la la, we are here. But unlike when we were here last time, and it was very much a 1 minute stand, very much eggs and bacon and GTFO. Now we're up here. We're up here briefly, down, and then we're up again. Whoa! And it is great to be here, right? It is great to be here. Have we done enough yet? And I hate to be that guy that's been the prudent one all along, but I've been prudent about this region in the more or less certainty that we would be here. So now that we are here, it would be doing my sort of all of the effort that I put in up to this point a disservice if I ignored the fact that this box here between this horizontal dotted line and where the prices currently is the region that we really genuinely need to be able to break up above if we're hoping to see price action trend on a medium-term basis towards the upper side. Where we are right now is simply put not enough. But we're doing really, really, really well. I mean, it's not a different story there on GME if we want to talk about it in same harsh terms, and that we've done very, very well. We're trending just a little bit, but until we're above that 193 area and so on, then we've not done enough really yet. So that's where we stand with those two. MMAT, for example, then, how are you getting on today, pal? You're doing all right, 350, nice one. Yep, we're going to keep an eye out for this. Oh, 350, we're coming back to 350. Just let me be clear about this here. So far, it does seem to me to be the case. Let me just check that out. 338. Okay, so we're going to see the prices at 330. Let's just see what was that there. It might be slightly different on a different time frame as well, but let's just be clear here. 337. We will see 337 again. It will happen. It will happen. It will happen. So fuck, come on. I'm being artistic here. There, that's what I wanted. Right, we will 337 again because that's what's kind of being suggested over here. So we'll see how that goes. If that happens, if it doesn't happen, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Cool. Right, sound doesn't. I mean, that's cool. This is just an experiment that we're running over the long term. I'm going from the open on this one and making it as hard as possible for the prices to go back down. Now, I personally don't care what happens to the prices in the meantime. This thing could go on to all-time highs before coming back down to that price point. It's really not what I'm trying to tell you at the minute, but that's just what I'm looking at there. But it's a curious one, and it's something that I think is probably time well spent pointing that out. Overall here, we've actually done really well on AMAT. We're up there at that 330 price point, so we knew that we would get here, okay? Again, we knew that we would get here, and this is the question for us right now. How are we handling this gap? Obviously, from a sort of larger term time frame, the 3-day time frame, was there even a gap to begin with on the 3-day time frame, to be honest? Yeah, no, on the 3-day time frame, we've covered it now. On the 2-day time frame, this is kind of preposterous. On the 2-day time frame, there wasn't one because of the overlap there. Right, sound. The 24-hour time frame, we have also filled that in, but it was only just now. It's only just today as well, in this one, that we filled in on the 3-day time frame as well. Anyway, 4-hour time frame and all that shit, we've obviously filled in that gap everywhere. We just wanted to check up the time frames because obviously we've done it all down below. Now we are in the gap, still in the gap. We're below the gap, sorry, but we're above 130. That's pretty good. At this stage, we could go back and retest the gap down below. Is that actually still a gap that's on there? Did we discuss this in detail? Yeah, there's a little gap just here. It's not so easy to see. but there's a little gap just in this box just here. So so that's something to be aware of. As you can see, we could come down to that region again. That would be 127. Not a big deal, just an extra percent or so, a couple of percent off the price, 3% off the price would bring us there, and we would be and we could then, you know, have retested that breakout. That's something to think about. Now you might be looking at this from the other point of view of, you know, kind of just simply like that this being the breakout, you know, that this region breaking up above this region is the breakout towards the top side. I'm not going to tell you that that's not the way to think about things. We don't necessarily have to retest this zone. I am zooming out very, very slowly and leaving it on the 30-minute time frame so I can drop in another one of these parallel channels like I did just moments ago, not necessarily relying on touching anything along the top, but of course we do have, you know, that chunk along there, and saying how would you look at this towards the downside. If we are actually kind of thinking about it from along these type of point of view, you know, where we came from most recently, our previous low, ignoring that zone down below there, and where we were resisted at before, and kind of thinking about this range with a W, as being important for us, then where does it all line up with? Because, you know, happily that's as well, that 235 price point is where that median line of the channel is as well. So it's not like to say that this is the channel that we're in, etc., yada yada, but just for us to know that that's in around about that zone, and we give above 135, then your chances of getting up to 145 are much more increased. From the point of view of where we are now, you could of course see this thing dropping back down the way. Taking out regions like 130 are not to be too feared. It's more like taking out regions like 127, or where the fear comes back in at again as a retest of this lower region. On this one, carrying it forward though, 145 is where you're going to look to in terms of just the general lack of ability to get above those highs. Moving on back up towards the bigger time frames, to put this into context, what we see is a real big boiling off of the divergences here on the RSI, for example. You can see these highs not successfully really mirroring with up above there so much. As we push down the way here, had not had increase in momentum, come back to the neutral line here in the RSI. Maybe now we get the chance to actually go on up the way and be able to put in a high and boil off this thing, maybe even trend up there, who knows. But that's kind of the way it is. I would like to see that there is a benefit to this here region. If that becomes the case, then what does this become? Well, from the textbook, and this is the homework for you out there, this goes out to everybody that I'm speaking to, but actually, to be perfectly frank with everybody that's watching along, this goes specifically to Marmar, who's trading this thing right now. Then the homework to you would be to be like, what does a rectangle pattern look like? So then you can, I'm not saying that this is what this is, but you can get an understanding of the overall layout. If you wanted to just look up a rectangle pattern, I mean, a rectangle pattern is obviously the most sort of basically type pattern that you can get anyway, you know, but it's not about the pattern. It's more along the lines of kind of thinking about how prices operate when they're within a defined region, when you know, when you're looking at something, whether or not you're drawing a box around it to call it a rectangle, or whether or not somebody else in the world has just simply used the parallel channel tool to put in a horizontal one on the prices, or they're simply just chosen what to them feels like 3 arbitrary price points, where they've taken the horizontal tool and they've gone, hey, I know there's a high in here, so there's one price point, and I know that over here we had a touch here, and there was touches in here quite a few times, and that maybe in around about there's another sort of line. And then they think to themselves, well, yeah, and then we came down to this region, we were resisted here, we reflected here, we found support, but only briefly there, then it became resistance, then it became support again, and then it just acted. So let's say right there, and we'll discount that area. And then of course they've got the same thing as the rectangle pattern and the channel guy as well. All three of those stories adding up. So I mean, in terms of like confluence, a study of confluence and an understanding of how things would go, that's a good one. And then just from the broader point of view, because you're not going to get this as part of your story when you go looking into doing your homework, you'll notice that this is obviously in all-time high territory. When you're in all-time high territory, you're most likely going to experience, in my experience and from what I've seen looking at charts, prices experience frequently bearish divergence during all-time highs, as there is actually a less lesser need in terms of liquidity to push things, or indeed a greater need if people are selling into it, in terms of the way that the candles move. So the relative movements in them are kind of got that caution and that prudence where nobody necessarily knows. And of course, there's a lack of liquidity up above, so people do know that if you push on past the certain structural points of your previous highs, that it doesn't matter if there's bearish divergence there. So it doesn't matter if there's a relinquishment of the momentum. It's the same feeling that I think that you might get if you were running up a hill to attack a bunch of enemies on the other side of that hill. So you know that there's a bunch of enemies on the other side of the hill, and you're running up your one because you're going to go over and attack them. But just as you get to the top of your hill, because you're aware that you're just aware that you kind of slow down a little bit just so that they don't see you coming. You take a look, you see they're all looking the other way, and then you fucking run down there and smash their heads in, right? Because if you were to get up to the top of that hill and then discover that you ran and everybody around you stopped and they were like, but I'm not going over there. They're aiming their guns at us, and you were the only guy up the top of the hill and you ran down the way. That's the process which is going on at all-time highs in a region like this, which can then lead to this type of consolidation across time. So that's cool. That's a nice little break, a bit of diversionary stat on that one. Tony Wright, thanks so much. Early Supporter Plus. Is that an upgrade, mate? Did you just upgrade your thing? Thanks so much, man, if you did. Really appreciate it. Tony, you're a great guy. Everybody should subscribe to him on YouTube. He is a really nice guy. Look at the size of that beer mug as well. He's been a massive supporter to me. A supporter, believe me, people, if you want to support my channel, then a massive way of doing it is supporting my community. Who is my community? Well, it's certainly not me. My community is in no small part people like Tony, so go out there and support him. I'd really appreciate it. You'd be doing me a favor by helping our community. So that's that one. I've already looked at cryptos a lot. It's 4:15. It is kind of time for me to wrap things up here. I don't think I need to be looking at anything in here in terms of missed messages or anything from anybody asking for anything or anything like that. So I'm doing pretty good. I can see that somebody said that Baba is up 7% today. That is, of course, Alibaba. They've got some legal stuff on the go at the minute. They got shafted quite a bit by regulatory things as well. The Chinese government haven't introduced new rules with regards to delivery drivers. So what we experience over here with regards to Amazon delivering our orders to us every day, well, they've got the same sort of thing in China because and by the way, people, and not everybody knows this, if you were born, say, after like 1980, you might have forgotten, you might not been paying attention, but people in China don't live in mud huts and that anymore. It's totally crazy. They've developed an economy. There's money and stuff there. There's actually, it's weird, right? But see if you were to go to somewhere like, say, New York on holiday, you'd walk around it the entire time thinking, wow, this is an amazing anthropological monument to the 1930s to 60s period America. It's amazing. Maybe that's a bit unfair. It's more like the 1860s to 1960s America is like a walk-in museum going around Manhattan in terms of, and it has elements of it which are up to date, obviously. But I think you kind of get the feeling that what I'm about to go on to say is like that compared to like walking around these cities in China, that there's pits which are like medieval nature reserves right next to the modern world, which doesn't exist in a lot of places outside of it. The modern world, which exists in places like China, Abu Dhabi, etc., but doesn't actually exist in the United States or the imperialist wonderful world that we live in over here in the United Kingdom. Just so you know, right? So yeah, cool, excellent. That's where we have it. Anyway, Alibaba up 7% today. Well, I'll get a lot more excited about this thing when it's actually gone, at least back into this region over here. We've taken out that low. We've come a bit lower. There's no bullish divergence. We can see that the most positive thing about this is that when we look back, that typically in around about this 40 line, the DMI tends to turn around. The other thing that we can see that is the most sort of somewhat positive, you could say, is that people have begun putting longs on the put call ratio on this thing. I mean, yeah, but then again, I would be more inclined to think that those people taking profits on their or covering their short positions, essentially. I mean, not covering whatever, just kind of the reduction in it, the ratio changing as a result of that, closures of shorts, as opposed to openings of longs. So yeah, this is a bit shit, man. But as soon as we get up above the 180s, then things start to look a hell of a lot better. Considering that you would really need to be above 257 to kind of start to move on beyond this. It's pretty good. It's a good rise today. Trading this on the short term is obviously something to be... Oh, this is the weekly time frame. Sorry, let me just check this on 24-hour time frame. Aye, great. Nice one. Yeah, sound. Brilliant. Wonderful. Great. All that's good stuff. Excellent. Cheers. Nice one. Yeah. We've done that one already. We'll probably fill in that gap. This move up today has filled in a gap. So it's basically, in fact, the entire time that we've been trading today has been trading within a prior gap. It's an interesting one. If we ever want to come back and study gaps on a chart, this might be one to look at as an example. Let me just take a note of this. I'll probably completely forget, but at least I'll have tried to write it down. Gap up to range within prior gap only. I think that the word for this is limbo. Have I stopped streaming again? I hear my phone ringing. Think we're okay. So yeah, cool. That's where we are on that one. Wait, I wrote this wrong. To prior gap. We in limbo. Okay, so yeah, on that. So anyway, while it'll obviously make news headlines and that, oh wow, stock moves 7% headlines on the news. Yeah, my initial feelings on that one aren't exactly amazing. Let's go check out another Chinese company, DD. How you doing? Doing a bit better. Good to see. Thanks very much for that. Let me just check out 786 or whatever it is. What is it? 786? Is it 786? No, it's not 786. What is it? China Telecom. 783 maybe? 728? 728. 728. Anyway, oh, aye, cool. Well, we didn't do so great. We haven't done so great recently. Down the way. Did I say we were going to be doing good on this one? I said that I've traded this from its lows down there at $2 up to these highs. So there was that. But right, so, well, anyway, there's that area. I mean, we're below it currently, but that's an area of inflection. As you can tell from previous wicks, which you can't tell because it's so zoomed out, but it's not even wicks as well, just the way this thing is worked in it around about the current price point. Ding, 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 that we're right at that area of support and resistance. Obviously, I'll just put it on the current price line so you can see. So that's an inflection point in the market, but it's a good degree up above it and below it, so you're talking a few percent either side of that line before you could properly say that it's been broken. Double lows here, ever so slightly lower, but yeah, I mean, yeah, so this is obviously a pivot point in the market here for us. I think that we can continue on up the way. I'm going to say the trend's your friend until the end of the trend. The trend hasn't ended quite yet, but it's quite nice because this friend of ours is really easy to keep an eye on, and I wouldn't be happy to see him below 268. And what have we got in here? Yeah, you're good, Rocky Outcrop. Thanks so much. You're good too. You're good. Reddit, it seems like today is about NFTs, China, and Reddit stocks. Well, for me, it isn't. Wait, what is it? Is that what it is for you? I don't know. I only talked about 2 Chinese stocks. I'll do some sort of celebration stream on my birthday, 17 days. So good, so good. Going to have to figure out what to get Jimmy for his birthday again. I've already given him a couple of presents for his birthday, but I need to get him another present, so suggestions and private messages are welcome. Tony Wright, Tradespawn, mine is in a few days. Oh, brilliant, Tony. People better stop mentioning their birthdays, though. I can't get everybody birthday presents. What do you want for your birthday, Tony? Right, sound. Okay, cool. So, that's bloody brilliant. That's bloody brilliant. Right, so we're at the end of the show. It's 16:22. The guy outside is singing love, love, love. MP Materials, Rare Materials, US market. Any thoughts? MP Materials. Corp, US market. Absolutely. Rare Minerals, US market. Where is it actually from? You know, these are yeah, so it'll be a US one, right? Rare Minerals, US market. It's funny, it's part of that mineral stuff that we're talking about with regards to, what's it called again? Afghanistan, man. So, oh, we're at the mid-range of this point as well. Again on this one, a lot. You know, it's. Right. I mean, you see this thing so often. If we can consider this here on the 24-hour time frame to be somewhat misleading with regards to that prior low, and the 4-hour time frame to be a little bit better, so we can see it's quite a chunk lower looking on the 4-hour time frame, then we'll get a better idea of how things are going here. That's the previous low into this low. Then we don't have that bullish, we don't have bullish divergence there. That would be unfair to be looking for, because that's a high, that's a higher low, and that's a higher high. And this would be the first lower low, so you couldn't look between those for that comparison point. So I wouldn't look between these two and say, look, really anything about that, other than the fact that I'm dismissing it here verbosely. So what do we have here on this one, though? We've already done this. So we've already done this here, this candle, in any sort of permutation of that sort of volatility gap fill. There's a tiny little gap just here, by the way, to be looking out for, up above 36.55. Could 36.55 be the tripping point for us? That would be something to look out for on this one. Could 36.35 be the tripping point for us on this one? Is that the exact things that I said? I think that's what I said verbatim there. Could it be where that gap is? That's not necessarily clear. It's just a wee gap, mind you, but it's there. So something to be paying attention to if we do go up and fail to take that out. That could be combined with this here low being lower than this low, and a failure to take that out, and therefore at that point having also put in a lower high. Could be considered to be trending price action. Wolfrick Doomslayer, you're a very generous man. I'm going to kick that out in just a second here. Really do appreciate it. So there's that. In which case, then, we've talked about this quite a bit so far today in terms of looking at the range, and trying to find where you had that kind of that zone at. Are these wicks in here in that body? And that gap that's down there that did actually get filled in at this price point here, enough to define the lower end of that range. And is this high outside of it? Is it really enough for us to kind of think along these lines, just these sorts of lines just here? Could that be enough for us to think about, and for us then maybe to look towards the middle of a range? And where would that come in at if that was the 2 points? Now, I looked at these looking for this area here, looking at these highs, and as well I looked at this as the gap, the wicks, and this support area for choosing those 2 price points. Bring out the parallel channel tool. The reason I'm using the parallel channel tool here is because it'll line up with the long rectangle that I've drawn on, but also because it is going to have a 50% line on there, and I'm drawing it in fairly arbitrary, but you can see here that that's bang on where we came to. So this is that zone. Now, we've obviously spent a lot more time up there in the top side of it. This is bullish. It's happened at the end of a lot of upward movement, and this is closer to the all-time highs than it is to the all-time lows, and we're spending more time in the upper half of that, and that's all fairly bullish. The prior price action had a sort of kind of head and shoulders type effect that took us down to that low to fill in that gap. So that was kind of like a structural market point of view necessary outcome in the market. So that happened. Then we moved up to here, which is what in terms of the Fibonacci? Wait, we just did a 618, or what did we do? Just a bit past the 618, or is it? It's got so much muck on there now. I'm going to have to just get something here, a brush stroke, so I can see. There's the line. Oh, it was to the 786, just past the 618. But yeah, sure. Sure. Could this work out to be like? Could this work out to be right, if we go in here for a higher low, then I'm going to be looking for, in this point of this thing, a harmonic. Something I don't really talk about an awful lot, but if we do go in for a higher low in the middle range of that point there, then I'll be looking for something that comes in here. I'm just trying to see. I'll just thinking now, you know, in terms of like, can we go in, if we came in for a higher low and it went for the 886, and this is purely, this is you know, when you go in for the crystal ball and stuff, you know, and I'm not wanting to go in for any crystal balling here for us, but in terms of this one, then this would be a bearish setup. By the way, I'd be looking perhaps for I don't think this works the way I've got this. It's just not quite enough there. But I'd be looking for us to come up maybe perhaps to one of these regions again, you know, the $50 region, 47 to 50 again, before perhaps moving down. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. In fact, sorry. I've spent too much time on this one. I don't mean to be rude or not rude. I'm not to be dismissive. I don't care about the harmonic at this point. I've done enough analysis to not have to, in that sense, right? Because we kind of got an idea of where we are right now. I think. What's my prediction on this one? Well, I don't like doing predictions, and that's why I shied away from doing all that type of stuff. It was getting far too predictive. But I would say that that my prediction on this is going to kind of survive along the lines of that. I'm aiming for a move up towards $36, and I'm managing my risk at $30. And I don't think that anything beyond that really needs to be explained. Everything beyond that is quite a lot to process, but you know, even at that, any permutation of this thing is going to get you a 3-to-1 risk to reward move. You can just decide the actual areas that you're looking at yourself on that one. Spent a bit of time on that as well. I'm challenging the Outcrop petitions. If this vid gets 100 comments, I'll drop another $49.99 tomorrow. Holy smokes. Right, here we have it. Okay, there are current viewers, 98 concurrent viewers. 97. Okay, so when he wrote that in, people will have seen it. That's amazing, Wolfrick Doomslayer. If you all leave a comment, I'll write back to all your comments. I'll really appreciate it. It's a cool little game that we'll play, and it'll be really awesome. It'll be really cool. And if we don't, then you know that you know what 97 people here watching concurrently means. You know, it's like, you kind of like what it means. Like, if you do it, it'd be awesome. 100 comments. I don't even think he said 100 unique comments. You can argue with Wolfrick over the rules on this one. But how cool is that? How generous and how cool is that? And how inspiring is that in terms of trying to get the channel to get a bit of recognition and growth? That's really awesome of you, man. Really appreciated. Wow, fantastic. Be sure to tell your friends as well, because if you're commenting on this one, who knows, maybe not everybody else would. I see a comment in here from Irem saying, Wilfred Doomslayer, you should post this challenge to the Discord so more people know in case they missed the chat. It's really good to see you out there, by the way, Irem. I don't know if I'm saying that name right. I never really do. It's cool. It's cool to see. I hope your brother's doing well as well. I can't remember what chart it was that you asked me to look at back in the day, but I did want to follow up with that again, by the way, with you as well, because it has now been a wee while, so I could take a look at that with you. And I see that Corey Bing Bong put in good name, by the way, Corey. I put in a name there for us to take a look at. Can you take a look at MVIS on your way out? And I absolutely could. Microvision, IREM. If you're watching right now and you want me to take a look at that chart, whatever it was, I know what it was. Air Canada. You see, I do pay attention to people and what they're talking about. What have we got on the go in Air Canada at the minute? Right, well, we've been between this range here. We did move down to the potential of fake out territory. That's my front door. That might be my mum coming back to see me again at the end of the episode, having started off at the start. So anyway, there we have that. So where are we? Right, that's the 236. It was where we retraced back down to. I don't know. We came down to fake out territory overall here. It's not game over on this one. We could absolutely see a bounce as we have done so far. This is taking us up to where we find it $25. That's not a bad price. If we do see them going up towards 28, etc., there is 10% on the table to be had here, just going for a lower high, or indeed to retest. Maybe not quite a full 10, to retest off that area as a sort of the retest, the breakout. Taking out these lower areas though, 22.68 would be where I'd be relinquishing positions in terms of the medium term on this one. Just as it happens, but I don't know, I'm still aiming up in terms of the broader picture towards 40. I do think that with a recovery in the world that will go up and at least try and fill in that gap. Nice to see you over there, Mum. It is her back again. I'm supposed to have finished. I'm a bit delayed today, obviously, quite a bit. Anyway, this is the last one that we're going to be taking a look at. Microvision over here. I'm going to spend as short a period of time as I really can on this one and get past. Have I done this today, or is this just a coincidence and this is what I was talking about yesterday? Weird. Anyway, right, that up there, that was bearishly divergent. We moved down the way. We're resisted off the median line of that channel. It is coming as hidden bearish divergence. I'd be aware of that. This could be the start of us turning things around just here on this one. I would trade this okay up to is that gap going to get filled here in this one actually? Right, you know, this is going to happen at some point. Okay, we will be seeing $12.28 on Microvision, but will we be going up towards 1660 or 1630 first is really the question that you're asking there on that one. In terms of the bigger picture, you know, just slightly from that high to the ultimate low that we've got here, until you're above 1485, it's harder to tell. I think that kind of ties together with my sort of feeling about things here on this one as I was looking at it, because it's just a little bit too low here at $14 for me to be confident enough to say that we're not going to 12.28, and we're mid-range territory here with us experience, you know, that previous high at that midpoint area of the overall range, having been hidden bearish divergence. We've just had a cross for us, but on the DMI here in the 4-hour time frame, but it's in chop territory on the ADX there, so I'm not expecting massive outcomes from that. Is this a little bit of so I mean, there's a low and a high, and this could potentially be a higher low. Retrospectively, take out this prior high, that's no longer hidden bearish divergence, it's just convergence with the upward trend, and this looking back the way becomes hidden bullish divergence on the MACD. So what's going on? Right, so that would be that, and that would be hidden bullish divergence, would how you look back at that retrospectively, but we are not there yet, so we could obviously go in and fill that in. What I would be long in this past 1660 currently on my brief glimpse at it, aware that we could have profit taking coming in at $18 again, where we so often have seen prices kind of bounce around at this zone. I'm just, you know, that's this sort of the $18 buck region in this region, so I would be aware of that. Of course, you know, we're looking at significant percentage moves between all these areas, and it's easy enough to manage your trades if you would. That would be me taking some money off the table to pay myself in that zone, with a view to us actually going up towards the top end of that range, you know, carrying that one up the way with maybe 2/3 of my position left, looking for us to try and come in for a target, perhaps 24 if we could go for that on it, you know, without having to be too worried about pushing past our all-time high there at 27 or any of that sort of stuff. But we're just so only early days on that trend there. The 1 hour time frame is going to look a little bit better and stronger on this one, but up at 40 yet, so that's a region where you could see it turning around. Hence, you know, the chop on the larger time frames. Here in the 24-hour time frame, it is just coming in for the cross just now. It's not quite happened yet. I think that kind of is the story of the day with us on this Microvision one. Not quite happened yet. The story might actually turn over to be and have happened yet. I can't remember what that number was that I was suggesting would be the number to look to, but it was something like 1480 or something like that. I'd be a lot happier if the prices were above it than being below it, and right now we're just close to it. The risk profile is here. You're early into that trade if you're looking to try and catch it just here and now. That is, of course, as well, if you're going to be looking at this like this and saying that that's the previous high, then that is, of course, that hidden bearish divergence. It's like I say, until something's has changed, then that's the conditions out there. And that's that, bringing us back over to being able to look at the chat again and see how you're all getting on up there. Iriam, thanks so much for the update. You're the best. No, you're the best. You're the best. I'm just a dude over here I'm just trying. Hello, Mother Current. Yes, indeed. Hello to her. She has she just turned up. But I was supposed to be finished. I told her to come back around at about 4 and I would see her then. Well, I'm hungry. I need to go and it'll be a good time for me too, so that's cool. Brady Pearl, I've stopped caring. I simply buy when I can, says Harriet. Well, that's cool. That's awesome. Can I just say I'm super good at buying the top? That's good to know that you've got an identified skill set. Hopefully you can improve on that some way, maybe by the extreme tops. Let everybody else know and maybe even become a counter trend indicator. How about that? That'd be cool. Sweet. So Banana Fridge, I only buy the top. That reminds me that is, of course, a song which I like. What the hell is this crap? Use coordinates to get the mouse button. Oh, yeah. That's what that is. I thought that was the YouTube thingy at the top there. Now, what I want to search for here is 1000X, and this will drag us out towards the end of the show as I put on the greatest song ever known to exist in the world of mankind. There it is. Do. Now, it's not working for yous quite yet. I know it's not. It's not working for me either. It will be when I get my music on. This gives me a second or two to get up the credits and all that stuff and to start to say I'm wrapping up the show. Thank you all to all joining in. Going to do the reverse roll call. Have done. It's been over a year since I started this, doing live streams regularly on the reg. And maybe I need to go back to my other screen to get the credits up, which I will presently. And ever since starting them, I've always done the reverse roll call. It's just something I didn't actually even mean to do. I invented the name for it at the time. I don't know if anybody else would call it that sort of a thing. I don't even know. It's just when I say thanks to people for tuning in at the end of the show. So I'm going to do that and read through some of the names because not everybody needs to donate to get a shout out from me. But I'm not going to also. I'm going to also draw specific reference to very, very appreciate it. Come on, there we go. Okay, so maybe you couldn't hear me for a second there. Maybe you couldn't. I really do appreciate everybody. To Moon. Right, I do believe you should be able to hear me. Merrick Sanders, thanks so much. Don't forget to comment. That's right, Wolfrick has put in that challenge to y'all. Let's see if we can get 100 comments. Thank you so much. Cat says Simone Cooper. Haha. Katie of Charka, thanks so much for tuning in. It's always good to see you, my friend. Corey Bing Bong, thanks for looking at that. Rocky, you're welcome, Corey. It's always good. I'm thrilled he's got a generation of teenagers thinking more about that than dab pens. That's interesting. Yes, indeed. I am not a cat. Meow, good to see you, my friend. Harriet, lovely to see you. Dink as well. Banana Fridge, Lepton, Finesse Finance, Irem, Gorilla Ape Monkey Boy. Could you take a peek at GTS? Sorry, man, no time. I'm way over time here. I'm about an hour past my planned scheduled end time. Because I couldn't start earlier, I've left it on for longer. I've been doing it for a long time. Serena Benstein NP, hello man from Mexico. Muchísimas gracias. Que va, amiga. It's good to see you, Serena. It always is. Que dices? Nice to see you all. Good to see you, Shaker Beauty. Good to see you, Rob Davis, and all that good stuff. Right, great, excellent. So here's the credits, and me saying cheerio. Thanks for watching. Super chats coming in during this particular episode from K-Doc, Andy A, The Nacho Friend, Wolfrick Doomslayer, Daniel Lesage, and GME T1000. We also had Tony Wright upgrade his membership. He didn't become a member. He's been a member for a year. Thank you so much. Is that actually even today? If it is today, Tony, I'll check later. Wow, what a wonderful guy. A whole 12 months at it. Full bureau glass. fantastic stuff. And then there were the people who did the donations in the previous stuff. We've got people today: Daniel Lesage, Wolfrick Doomslayer, Natural Friend, Andy A, K-Doc, great guy. K-Doc, always appreciate seeing you. I'm sorry I didn't give you a shout out properly earlier on. Would have been the right thing to do. Harriet Jones donated earlier on as well. Kim Robbins tuning in and donating just to say good morning, sweet guy. Thank you so much to you as well. And as well to Shikar Bajracharya. Gosh, I do want to be able to say your name well. Bajrachar. I can't say it. Anyway, you know, because we've spoken a few times, that I think your name's pretty awesome. Thanks so much for becoming a member. Jay, you donated $5. Keep on rocking. Really do appreciate that. Janine W donated as well. Brian Mullen donated. You're really, really kind. Christy Callahan as well. And that, I do believe, covers us for everybody. Shout outs to all the recent people who became patrons as well. We've got the likes of Amy, became a $7.99 patron. Mike Fitzpatrick, who became a $95 patron. Alex Gostilov, who became a $74.10 patron as well. Thank you kindly to all of you so much. And yes, let us go to moon. I'll see you next time. I say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novokrat say we have